Kayla Goodman was killed along with her 4 fellow cheerleaders when she swerved onto oncoming traffic and hit a tractor trailer, and her SUV burned into flames. 5 days earlier, 5 teenagers graduated from her high school. 2 minutes before the crash was reported, she was on her phone texting a friend. While texting and driving while become one of the most common forms of communication among adults and teens, texting may seem so harmless, but texting while driving can be dangerous and sometimes fatal. Many people believe that texting while driving is only harmful to themselves. This is incorrect. Texting while driving is harmful to everyone around you, even your family at home, because the mental damage is just as harmful as the physical damage. Texting while driving has become a distraction that is not only dangerous but as well as fatal. Texting while driving can make a crash up to 23 times more likely. Why would you want to put your life at risk as well as others in your car and others on the road? Nowadays, people have the technology to examine the effects of texting and driving. Every single person who has done research about the effects came to the same conclusion, that it impairs a driver's ability. One of the most obvious things that happens while someone is texting while driving is that the driver will take his or her eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. While doing this, you're taking your eyes off the road for a long enough period for someone to run in front of your vehicle or the vehicle in front of you to make a sudden stop or to even miss seeing a red light change. And despite knowing all of this, people still text and drive. Vehicles are much safer than they used to be thanks to modern technology. Safety saves lives, but an unsafe driver places them in harm's way. The Alert Drivers Act of 2009 is a bill that has helped reduce the amount of people to be put in harm's way. This bill requires all states to impose a law that prohibits texting while driving. If a state does not impose the law on texting and driving, they face a penalty of 25% off their annual federal highway funds. The bill gave 2 years for people to carry out the laws as well as create penalties. In hopes of this be successful, as well as successful the drinking while driving law was. Many people understand the dangers of drinking while driving. But they don't realize the dangers involved in texting while driving. Next time you're in the driver's seat, check about your phone to think back to the dangers you're imposing on yourself. Take the time to read a message that is equal to the amount of time to drive down a football field blindfolded. That may not seem far, but for those 5 seconds, it could be the last 5 seconds for someone's life. According to the researchers of the University of North Texas Health Science in Fort Worth, texting behind the wheel was accounted for 16,141 deaths between 2002 and 2007. The percentage of all traffic deaths caused by the distracted driving rose from 11% in 1999 to 16% in 2008. Distracted driving crashes are more common in urban areas. Overall, 40% of crashes has happened in urban areas in 2008, up from 33% of a decade earlier. Only 1/3 of Americans had a cell phone in 1999, but by 2008, 91% of Americans did. Texting is on the rise, up from 9.8 billion messages a month in December to 2005 from December 2005 to 110.4 billion messages in December of 2008. Distracted driving constantly ranks as one of the biggest traffic safety issues each year. More than 80% of drivers in the annual AAA Foundation of Traffic Safety Culture Index cites that distracted is a serious problem and a behavior that makes them feel less safe on the road. Nearly half of the people who said that they felt less safe on the road, they also said they were a part of texting while driving. According to a nationwide insurance study in 2009, 66% of drivers between the ages of 18 to 24 send or receive a message while behind the wheel and don't admit to it, and believe that it's not only putting others in harm's way. Texting while driving is leading the list as the largest distracted while driving, accounting for 65% of near crashes in the United States. The crash risk is 4 times higher than when a driver uses a cell phone device, whether it's hands-free or not. Even though many believe that hands-free devices are the solution to a problem, concentrated on the road should be the focus while driving, but it's not for many. Cell phones are. Cell phone use behind the wheel reduces the amount of brain activity associated with the driver by 37%. This is the amount it could take to rear-end someone, or the amount it takes to stop at a red light. Another study conducted at Virginia Tech found that texting drivers are 23 times more likely to be involved with a collision people who wouldn't be if they weren't texting behind the wheel. And although the AAA reports show 95% of the drivers polled acknowledge texting while driving is dangerous, 21% of them claim to text and drive anyway. Car and Driver magazine conducted a study which the driver of the vehicle would actually read and type out a message while driving. The study solely focused on the driver's reaction time to a light mounted on a windshield at eye level, meant to stimulate the leader's car's brake light. This test was conducted at an old airplane runway away from pedestrians, traffic, and real-life driving conditions. The passenger would trigger the light at the driver, was instructed to brake every time he saw a red light. While reading a text and driving at 35 miles per hour, the driver's average reaction time was 0.57 seconds, tripled to 1.44 seconds, which texting his response at the same time was 1.36 seconds, which is about an extra 45 feet that it takes a driver to hit the brakes. Think of what could happen in 45 feet if you're not paying attention. Lastly, the study compared texting and driving to while being intoxicated and driving. These results were eye-opening. The driver drunk, although enough alcohol to the legal limit of 0.08 blood alcohol content, and the reaction time of the drink were only about 7 feet of reaction time, which was a huge difference compared to the 45 feet of extra brake time for texting and driving. The test was done by using a side road without any traffic or signs or pedestrians, so that you would only be reacting time. To sum it all up, it's pretty easy for you. Don't text and drive. Everyone thinks they are the best driver, or a pretty good one to say at least. But all it takes for you is to have your eyes off the road for a few seconds for an accident to occur. You've heard of how texting and driving is worse than driving under the influence of alcohol. That alone should change your mind about how texting and driving is a horrible thing to do. All of these studies have shown that has been conducted for their one reason, and that one reason is to show that people who have their cell phones and text regularly on a minute-to-minute basis is that it's not hard to send a quick message while behind the wheel, but for your sakes and others, wait until you stop driving. You'll see the person soon enough.